From inside the gym at Leominster High School, we say a very good afternoon, everyone, and a good early evening as well. It's high school volleyball right here on RFM. Second opportunity to bring girls volleyball action into your homes during this COVID-modified Fall 2 season as Leominster plays host to Hudson. Blue Devils and Hawks come in having very different first couple of weeks of the season. Leominster comes in with a record of 1-2, having been swept in their first set of games against Mid-Wach in week 1, only to later avenge that with a sweep in day 2, and then opening with a 3-1 loss to this very Hudson team on Monday. Meanwhile, the Hawks come in with a 3-1 overall record, having only lost one game in a split decision. They beat South Lancaster on Monday of last week by a 3-1 score, lost 3-0 on Wednesday of last week, and then proceeded to sweep Mid-Wach in straight sets on Friday, March 19th, and then have won a 3-1 match against Leominster early on this week. 3-1 Hudson, 1-2 Leominster. That's the action that we will bring you here inside the gym at Leominster High School on this Wednesday. A very good afternoon once again, everyone. Todd Robbins, Bill Thomas, Kate Robbins, happy to have you along with us, and happy National Orange Day to those of you out there wondering why Kate and I are sporting our orange. Well, Bill Thomas, we didn't want to have to con you into this. Syracuse alumni always mark the founding of the university on March the 24th of the year.
And I'm just by
proximal.
marriage.
I was going to say by marriage and
I'm an
proximal
orange by marriage.
To that
orange, I like that.
as well. Yes, indeed. We've got Leominster and Hudson for you in volleyball action. We'll get to that in a couple of moments. But of course, the major news of the day in high school athletics here in central Massachusetts is the cancellation of the Leominster and Fitchburg football game. The 139th meeting of Leominster and Fitchburg was scheduled to be played on Friday night. Due to COVID protocols in the Leominster High School football program, that game not able to take place. So Leominster is out pending COVID protocols, hoping for negative tests throughout the weekend to allow them to resume normal team activities next week and to resume their schedule against Shrewsbury on Friday of next week or later. In the meantime, Fitchburg, who has tested clean in this program and throughout this time period, they are COVID-free. They shopped around for another game. They were able to sign up Hingham, so Fitchburg will travel to Hingham on Friday night for a 6 o'clock kickoff in that one. So the Red Raiders were able to find a replacement game in this series.
And that game was made possible courtesy of Duxbury football having to fire its head coach today because of the, it's all over the news, the anti-Semitic play calling, naming their play calling in an anti-Semitic fashion. So Hingham had an opening, so Fitchburg and Hingham are going to be going at it this week. So my assumption is that will be a road game for Fitchburg because all of Fitchburg football's games are scheduled to be on the road this season because of it being early springtime and not wanting to ruin the surface over at Crocker Field.
Indeed. So that is what is expected. Fitchburg could travel to Hingham for a 6 o'clock kickoff on Friday night. And Bill Thomas, before we get rolling with volleyball action here in just the waning moments, this is what the testing protocol is all about. It's to catch things before they become a problem. Sad as it is to lose the Leominster-Fitchburg game at this point in time, and they do certainly hope to maybe be able to reschedule it later on in the year. The good news is they caught it before there was any kind of a circumstance where it could have spread beyond the Leominster football program.
Oh, absolutely. The whole idea is to catch and contain at this point. And I think the fact that, Leominster did the right thing through the reporting, that, I'm sure a lot of self-reporting going on, however that transpired. But, yeah, hopefully an opening can be found in the schedule. I know the last week of the schedule was a problem because of an overlap. They might maybe reconsider that. But of all the games that you wouldn't want to lose, it would be the one of the most storied rivalries, not only in Massachusetts, but in the country.
Well, and Bill Thomas,
so hopefully they can figure out a way to piece it together.
You bring up an interesting point relative to the testing. So the testing is not done. It's not administered through the athletic departments. So you have nurses and the nursing departments in each of the school districts that are working on the facilitation of that. So absolutely makes sense that obviously you have to report when you have that information. So it's good to have those protocols in place.
And in the meantime, we'll turn our attention to volleyball here inside the gym at Leominster High School.
It's paperwork time.
Yeah, it's time for the paperwork as they check in the starting lineups. The officials check the rotation for the first match. Leominster and Hudson frequently meet on the floor. This is part of their regular division, Coach John Antonetti tells us. Actually, he said this year is made up mostly of their regular division, save for Mid-Wach, who was joining this group to be a part of this geographic region.
The Hudson girls just realized that they were going to be on camera. They were all looking up at.
And they're the first on serve as well. Nobody had a ball out on the floor, but indeed they will be. It's Hudson and Leominster. Mid-Wach's Julie Kuhn starts with the first serve. Hudson, excuse me. Julie Kuhn starts with the first serve, and away we go. Nice save there with the diving play made by Collier. Wynn pushes it on. It's tapped over by Wood and finds the floor as Hudson was not able to make the pass back to the center of the floor.
Leominster's defense excellent in that volley, especially their back row play, keeping them in that volley, able to get service.
Wynn starts with the first serve. And then the kill for the Hawks. And now the Hawks go back on serve. This is Jenny LaRue. LaRue had a phenomenal game against Leominster earlier on in the week. She had 11 aces, 7 kills, according to the reporting from the Worcester Telegram.
She's a southpaw.
And here comes the jump serve.
Free ball.
And over it goes off of the hands of Stanton. Kill attempt there. Figueredo. Another kill opportunity there. The libero Broomfield tries to keep it alive, not able to do it with the last deflection, and so the Hawks take a 2-1 lead.
This is the server that Leominster's really going to need to make sure that they are able to break in order to get the momentum back.
And that one,
no call?
They call long. And so it will be Leominster ball. There was some confusion. The two officials stared at each other along the floor. And so LaRue's service is called long of the end line.
I'd like to see a little more authoritativeness out of the officials on that kind of a call.
2-2 is going to be the score.
You had a 50-50 shot. Be confident whatever you decide.
And Randy Wood will go back on serve for Leominster.
Because if these girls sense any hesitation, they'll smell blood in the water.
Kill opportunity there, pounded away at by O'Brien. Leominster able to dig it out.
Nice outside hitting by Hudson so far early on.
That's Sherling. Sends it over.
Yeah.
And Broomfield was not able to keep it alive. They call that off the floor. The finger whistle's not helping, by the way, with the authoritative feel you're looking for, Kate. It seems like the button's stuck. Figueredo goes back on serve. The righty sends it right at Broomfield on the back line. This is Nguyen. Over the head, set. Tried the kill, did Tucker. Long of the line. Leominster gets the point.
Leominster did win their first set on Monday against Hudson, and then Hudson came roaring back with 3 sets back to back to back. So this should be a fairly evenly matched game, or matched match.
As Broomfield goes on serve.
Beautiful
nice block. That was Perez Soto.
Ooh.
Tried the tap, did a Mosa, missed. Ball will hit the floor, and it's a point for Hudson. Kate, to your point, Leominster did win that first set, 25-15 on Monday, and then lost in straight sets, 25-19, 25-19, 25-13 in the fourth set to lose that match 3-1 on Monday against the same Hawks team.
So it's not as if Leominster doesn't realize that they have the opportunity and they have the ability to win that set. So
Scafidi wails away on the first serve. Dug out there by Perez Soto. Moves laterally out of play.
back row play, I think, is going to be key. Their defense is going to have to be exceptional. Some really good serves coming from the Hudson group.
Scafidi sends her second, catches the tape, and the ball will go back to Leominster along with the point. Kate, noticing the two different philosophies here. The right-handers on Leominster tend to be going to the far side of the floor, serving on an angle coming back from right to left. Meanwhile, Hudson is actually serving from their inside hand out. They're serving left to right for the right-hand servers.
It tends to be a very individual type situation. Basically, it's what you're comfortable with. And obviously, you know, coaching comes into play as well. But in earnest, whatever you can get over the net consistently, I think a coach is going to be happy with you at this level.
Scafidi keeps it alive and then shuffled over by Shaves.
Ooh.
And not able to keep it up on the second attempt. Leominster able to drive it back forward. Perez Soto's serve continues.
Seen a lot of wailing and flailing going on out there right now. Never a good thing.
Perez Soto goes with the high arcer. It was dug out by Woodcomb in an excuse me fashion. Wynn keeps it alive and then ultimately sent over by Sanchez.
Hudson's back row needing to work on some communication.
Blocked by Wynn, and the point will go to Leominster. Net contact there, called against Sherling.
This game is so much about communication, and if you have even the slightest lapse, it becomes problematic.
Perez Soto goes with that high arcer again. The double block, tries to tap it back over. Now here comes Hudson, tries the line drive. Sherling again, catches the tape. Ball back to Leominster with the point. And a timeout taken on the floor, taken by Coach Bobby Joe Lewis and the Hawks. 8-5 Leominster lead, early going of the first set. And Kate, you're getting the feeling here that right now the rhythm seems to be favoring Leominster, and they are piling them up in bunches here in the early going.
I think neither team right now is showing any real level of consistency. In the very early going, Leominster's defense looked really good, but both teams right now struggling a little bit with execution, I think, on Leominster's defensive end and on Hudson's with communication. Right now, I think you have a few people on Hudson that are trying to do a little bit too much. I think if they go back to fundamentals, that last hit, that third hit, that can easily just be a bump over, and then you're able to regroup and go back on defense. But trying to do a little bit too much, I think, on Hudson's side of the ball. Work on communication and fundamentals. Leominster's defense, I think, needs to get back to where they were in the early going of this set.
And Perez Soto's service continues. Goes outside wide, and that will miss the line.
But that's exactly why a coach wants to take a timeout. It's, again, we equate it to icing the kicker in football. You take somebody that's gotten onto a little bit of a roll, you take the timeout, you're able to ice them, they come back in their first serve, you get the ball right back and you get the point. Notice all of the Billy mentioned this earlier, all the basketball nets are down, sans one.
Yeah.
Interesting situation.
Sherling sends this one over the net. It's dug out by Wood. Slapped on by Amosa.
There's that southpaw kill from the outside hit.
That was LaRue. Leominster kept it alive. Tapped right back. Amosa goes over her head and into the net, and Kate, she just lost her spatial relations there.
Well, not only that, that's a situation where all you want to do there is if you have to spin like that, you want to square your shoulders to the net. If you stay square to the net, then you're talking about having to hit the ball in a linear fashion. You're not having to spin around like that.
Sherling rifles one over, dug by Wood.
Beautiful
pushed
defense.
on by Wynn.
She's been all over the court.
Swung on, middle of the floor, that was Johnson. Amosa tries to tap, clip the tape. Point will go to Hudson, multiple hits here, 4 in total against Leominster.
Amosa's needing to, she's been struggling a little bit with her timing on those hits close to the net. The net gets very precarious to work around when you're really close to it.
Sherling with the ace.
Right now, Hudson on a roll since their timeout. So that timeout looking even more excellent by the coaching staff of Hudson.
The freshman, Laura Sherling, continues the service. Wynn keeps it alive. Amosa over her head. Dug out there, going to the floor. That was the libero. Of course, we have a number change, Kate.
Oh, why not?
No help. Going to the outside. This is LaRue looking for the kill. Dug out by Broomfield. And over off the hands of Sanchez. Scafidi with the center set for LaRue with the kill. Wide of the line. No. Yes, maybe. There were a lot of signals going in a lot of directions,
It's
Kate.
just a substitution.
Substitution there, thank you. I never saw the signal to indicate Leominster scored the point.
And I didn't see a point awarded. It was 9-8 to start that point.
It was 9-8 to start that point.
Yeah,
I have
right.
10
There
up.
we go.
It's up.
Yeah, I got it as a good shot. And I think they're awarding Hudson the point.
Yeah, it looks like they're sending them back on service. There is some confusion out there on the floor.
Well,
So Sherling's going to come back into the game.
Yeah,
But
it's basically they're
the
dealing with a substitution and making sure they're in the correct rotation
But I
right
think
now.
the confusion started with the inconsistency of the refereeing call. They got to be a little more concise and firm. Right or wrong, you still got to make a call and live with it.
So Sherling's service will continue
Even though Leominster got the point.
at 10-8. It's the other way.
Oh, you're right.
No, they
And
awarded
Sherling
Hudson
will
the
send it in the middle. Broomfield. Win. Amosa. Scafidi. Tapped on by Johnson for the kill.
point. 6 straight points out of that timeout, Kate.
Yeah, I think
Good
that
call right
I
there.
think you'll see Coach Antonetti take a timeout here in very short fashion if this continues.
Sherling, the freshman, rifles for the back line. That's another ace.
Now, you don't need ball possession to call timeout. You can break the momentum anytime, correct?
Anytime you like. Sherling again attacking that back line.
And
Another
here's the
ace.
timeout.
And there it is. Coach John Antonetti will spend the timeout. Down 13-8. Remember at that last timeout, Leominster had themselves a lead.
8-6.
And
it
I
was
believe at that
8-5
point was
actually.
4 or
Yeah,
5
but
points
still.
in a row. Now all of a sudden, not only are those 4 or 5 points dried up, it's gone in the other direction quickly.
Well, we've seen this be a game of swings. You know, you get a hot server, and it's not unusual for that server to run off 5, 6, 7, even as many as 10 points. So we're seeing that today, 2 big swings.
Got some great fans checking in with us all around the country. Want to say hello to a special one, Kinsley in Arizona, one of the granddaughters of Coach John Antonetti. Out there in Arizona, was a little upset that that Grandpa didn't say hi. In the last game, he was here on television. Coach said he's now trying to make sure that he waves at the camera every time he starts a new game.
Any grandparent knows.
Absolutely.
It's all about making sure those grandchildren are happy. So, you know, there are priorities in life, and that just tends to be one of them. So he's going to have to suck it up and make sure he says hi.
Nice day here in
We're
Leominster.
just going to start waving.
Absolutely. Nice day here in Leominster, but I'll tell you, I'll take that Arizona weather in March. Any
March,
old
yes.
time.
Not in August.
No, not at all.
No, not in August. I'll take it in March.
It's a dry heat, Kate.
It is indeed.
Yes, and I would turn into a prune, Bill Thomas.
Sherling back to the back line, on service once again. 3 aces already, make it 4.
Leominster right now back on their heels in quite a few facets. They can get right back in this match, though.
One play can make all the difference. The great part of rally scoring.
Nice.
Meza kept it alive, and then over the net it went. Scafidi sets up LaRue, kill to the back line.
And the interesting thing, I mean, LaRue is clearly the premier outside hitter, and she's on the side of the net for her natural southpaw. So right now, Hudson is in the catbird seat. If they can keep LaRue over in that spot, they're just going to keep feeding her every single time.
And the freshman Sherling spins the ball in her hand, and over it goes. Broomfield digs it out. Wood from the back row, looks outside, and that is on the line. Point to Leominster. Nice kill by Wood. And so now they'll make the substitution they tried to make multiple points ago, but hey, it ends up being quite fortuitous for Coach Bobby Joe Lewis, as Sherling was able to rack up a number of points on that service opportunity. As Sanchez goes to the back line. Johnson with the left hand.
Another left hand. I can't recall a time I went up against a left-handed outside hitter.
Thwarted by the net again. That point to Hudson, and Leominster's service ends quickly.
That's the equivalent of like the turf monster.
Absolutely.
It's just once
Clipped
you get
by
there,
this hanging net.
can't do much about it. Whew.
Libero rifles one down the line. It's kept alive.
That was a knuckleball.
Wood sends it into the net.
Did you see that just float?
Float a little bit
Wow.
going in. The unfortunate part here, the
You
part
have no
that's going to
idea who
bother
she
me,
is.
is I have no idea who she is. So I do apologize for all the numbers and all the world I may have. I don't have this one. Hang on, wait a minute. Maybe I do. 27 is Murphy. She wears 1 and 27 as LaRue attempts the kill into the net. Leominster reaches double digits and will go back on serve.
And if Leominster can get through, I think one additional rotation, they'll be back to their #1 server.
Samantha Brady goes on serve for Leominster.
So if they're looking for a run,
Forces that one into the front row. The diving play kept it alive. That was McDonald that came skidding in from the back row, not able to clear the net. Donald pops it up. Scafidi, back set, swatted wide of the net by LaRue.
Leominster now inching their way back. Back-to-back points. Now the lead is only 5.
This is Brady. Scafidi sets for LaRue. Kill, popped up. Wood tapped on. Right back it comes. Brady for Wood.
Wow.
Scrapes the tape, and it's a kill.
When you get lucky, you just say thank you.
And the game is within 4. First set action, Hudson and Leominster here inside the gym at Leominster High School, and great to have you along with us. Brady just cannot clear the net on that service. Ball and point go back to Hudson.
Substitution question, Kate. You can only substitute when the serve changes hands. You can't substitute during a point of possession. Is that what we're seeing here? And why Hudson couldn't substitute when they had won that point earlier?
I believe that that's true. Again, I didn't play rally scoring, so I believe that makes sense to me. But
Hudson back to their first server. This was Kuhn, and
That's
she
a
cannot
huge-
clear the net.
that's a huge change. And now Leominster's back to their #1 server with a 4-point deficit here. They need Nguyen to go on an absolute tear.
Perez Soto back into the game. She had a great run at service earlier as well. Win on serve, the senior. Hammers it through the middle. Popped right back, and Wynn sends it right back over. A tennis match ensues. LaRue with the kill. And the point will go to Hudson along with the ball.
That is not what you are looking for if you are Leominster. Oh, nobody wants the ball.
Now both teams traded their #1 servers.
Yep. A lot of yelling going on.
Sherling's going to check back in place of McDonald for Hudson. Get her back on the front row as the outside hitter to the left, as LaRue goes to the back line, the lefty.
Interesting conversation between the official and Coach Antonetti.
Enthusiastic. LaRue, back line, Perez Soto pops it up.
I'll say
And Wynn.
unorthodox.
Tapped on there by Stanton.
Ooh.
And it finds open floor.
And this
Ball
is-
and serve back to Leominster, and it takes LaRue Kate off the serve.
Yes, and what we've been seeing, especially with that back row, we've been seeing some lapses in communication from Hudson all set long. And so if Leominster is able to utilize that, really focus in, hone in on that back row, there are some communication lapses going on in that back row. Their front row play, especially outside hitting, has been strong.
Wood for the middle of the floor, dug out by Murphy. Sherling, spike opportunity, finds the floor. Libero in and out here. Murphy out of the game. Back in Kelsey Johnson will take the front row left spot.
How good do you feel knowing her name?
So much better.
So much better.
Figueredo back on serve, and she's got herself an ace. played off the side there by Stanton Kate. It seemed to surprise her a little bit. Got it up around the elbow. No chance of popping it up from there.
And again, if you're going to be in the front row and you're going to take that, if you're going to take that serve, you need to be darn sure that you are going to be able to pop that up or get that back over the net. You've got back row players to help you there.
Coach John Antonetti decides to spend a timeout. 4 points from Hudson, putting this one away. 21-15, Hudson on top here in game one of this match. Blue Devils and Hawks here inside the gym at Leominster High School. Hudson certainly, Kate, a strong volleyball program.
They certainly are. I've been very impressed, like I said, with their outside hitting. Certainly not impervious. Obviously, Leominster the same. There are certainly areas of in which you can take advantage of, but both teams have been really fun to watch. LaRue has been incredibly fun to watch. I've been very impressed today by Nguyen's defense for Leominster as well. Very interesting. We have not seen any of the first servers really go on any kind of run, so that's been interesting to see as well, to see exactly who has been garnering the points from the serving position for both of the teams. It's been kind of an interesting set so far.
It's okay to tell the story, Kate, of your conversation. You had a nice conversation with Shayla and Wynn before the game. We'll drop that in here in a second. Figueredo back on serve, and here it comes. Ace again.
And then right now, Shayla talking to the rest of her teammates. Again, we mention how imperative communication is with regard to this. It cannot be said enough. You have to work as a single entity. It's not as if there are 6 individuals out on that court. If you want to make this work, you have to work as a unit. And communication is just consistent and constant.
Figueredo finds Wood on the back row. Sanchez, that was spinning on the top of the net. Lands on the wrong side for the Blue Devils. Point for the Hawks. Ultimately called the carry.
Kristen Murphy, thank you so much for the kind words on Facebook. We appreciate it.
We love the second screen experience. Feel free
to
cheer
join
on
in,
the
anybody.
Hawks, Blue Devils, your individual player. Another ace there on the floor for Figueredo.
Set point. Game point.
24-15. Chance for Hudson to take a 1-0 lead in the match. First game point. Figueredo, back line.
Your voice
goes
carries
outside, wide of the net, and the ball will go back to Hudson. Well, I've noticed you're trying to adopt the golf perspective.
I have been.
You're trying to adopt the whisper here.
I have.
They've adapted to us. Only their second broadcast here on Rivalry Family
Everybody
Media.
in blue has gotten used to
And
us,
they've
but
certainly
everybody
gotten
in
used to it.
everybody in red, not so much so far.
Broomfield back on serve. Dug out by Murphy. And Leominster cannot handle it. What a great diving play for Addison Murphy from the back row to close out the first game for Hudson to take a 1-0 lead in the match.
Some interesting decision making, and it's so difficult when you're out there, when you're an athlete and you're out there, and you're, for instance, if you're in the front row, obviously, you're worried about your proximity to the net. But when you see a ball kind of go in that in-between section, in between the front and the back row, it's so enticing. You want to help out your back row player so much because there's that, that no man's land. The back row is so much larger in square footage than the front row. So when you see those front row players turn around and try to go after that ball, in your head as a casual observer or an outside observer, you go, what are you thinking? The geometry of that just doesn't compute. Why wouldn't you let the back row player in? But you see so many of those balls fall between the front and the back row. Those front row players are desperately trying to help out their back row because they have so much floor area to cover. But it becomes one of those situations where ultimately, more often than not, when you're a front row player and you're going to help out that back row, an errant hit will send that ball shooting out of bounds. So it's a difficult situation, and you never like to see that ball hit the floor. And you think, again, and I know I mentioned it in the last broadcast, there's not a lot of square footage out there, and you would think with 6 bodies, how can anything possibly ever hit the floor? But the reaction time, you have to be so fast with your anticipation and being able to react. And not only are you moving, north and south, east and west, but you're also having to move your body through that 3-dimensional space as well. There's so much movement that has to happen. It's not an easy sport.
Bill Thomas here. Leominster finds themselves down 1 game in the set. They've certainly, this is that second time we play a team in the same game week. It's been a frustrating, obviously, run. You took 1 game out of 4 the other day. Now you're down 1. If you're Coach Antonetti, what are you saying to the team?
Well, I think, you got to go back to what they would do in the first half of this first set. They came out strong, but I think really they got to pick up the service. Their number 1 server didn't have an opportunity beyond 1 serve. I think both times the rotation came, she was in the rotation. You got to take advantage of the opportunities because we know how good Hudson is, and it's on full display in that first set.
Certainly has been. Great athletes on both sides we've seen tonight. We will continue.
It's my favorite part of the match.
As we had, I was going to say, paperwork time,
Paperwork
Kate,
time.
as we double
Yes, I
check.
filed my taxes.
Yeah.
Yes, I know April 15th is the deadline.
When
am I getting my
Now
refund?
remember, keeping in mind,
it's
of course, it is now
May or June.
May or June, yeah. It's been moved. Our friends over at the IRS have moved it. Take this from line 37, subtract that from line 53,
Yep.
and you're on serve.
I've decided that this is going to be my Halloween costume this year. I'm going to get navy blue pants, a white polo, white tennis shoes, and I'm going to carry around paperwork.
As Kate, we are
what I'm
often
gonna do.
retweeting out at Media Rivalry out there on Twitter. The National Federation is always looking for game
They
officials.
are.
So certainly,
They are.
we encourage people to
I
come
did,
out there
Bill
and
Thomas, I
stay
did
involved
tell
in sports.
Todd in our retirement, I would certainly take this on if I could hang out with
If
Todd.
you're getting a varsity fee to stand there, I think I might look into this. I thought soccer was the way to go with the play on.
Speaking to
I miss my calling.
I spoke to a volleyball official this afternoon, and they said it is a game you can officiate truly for life.
Yes,
Take
you
that
can.
into
In a
For
wheelchair.
life.
You can officiate this in a wheelchair.
No.
And away we go.
Mike could officiate.
And there's an
this.
ace.
But your eyes have to be excellent for this game. Let's not take anything away from these 2 gentlemen that are out
He's
there.
wearing glasses.
No, but your eyes, you have to, whether they're corrective lenses or not, you have to have good corrected vision.
And Wynn hammers away to the back line.
You guys are ruthless.
I've said nothing.
You can probably hear every word we're saying.
Broomfield
Oh, there's 2 people.
popped up by
involved.
Wynn. Played on over the head by Wood.
We're never getting invited back.
Scafidi sets up a kill opportunity. Long of the line for Kuhn.
Kate, I got a question for you.
Oh,
Another
boy.
rules question. The girl who wears the black uniform, it's changed numbers on the Hudson side.
A couple of different players.
Have multiple players who fill that role, so they bring multiple uniforms? I mean, I'm even more confused now.
McDonald is in that libero role right now. Tapped on by Kuhn for the point. Kuhn had 10 aces and 4 kills in the match on Monday, so certainly has made her presence felt. Hasn't been on service much tonight as the number 1 server.
Take the victory any way you can.
That's right, O'Brien to the back line to serve for the Hawks. Played on through the middle of the floor, dug out by Collier. And then Collier punches it on and finds an open spot on the floor.
Hey, I'll take it.
Sometimes, Kate, accidents do help.
Sometimes they help.
Accidental offense right there.
Take it any way you can.
They all
A
count
lot
the-
of
they all count the
substitutions
same.
from Hudson. Hudson has, I know that there are limitations as to how many people they're allowed to have on their roster, but they have a deep bench.
They do indeed.
Doing a lot of substitutions. At the varsity level, you don't generally see quite this many. It means that people specialize.
Sherling got the setup, hammered away at the front row. And Wood able to clear it back over the net. What a sequence from Hudson. Another kill opportunity, and Broomfield couldn't handle it. That was Kuhn hammering away for the kill.
2 beautiful outside hits there for Hudson in rapid succession. A nice job by Leominster's defense to keep them in that volley. But as you said, Kuhn able to overpower the Leominster defense on that last outside hit.
And Kuhn is back to the back line on serve. Wynn keeps it alive. Tapped on by Sanchez. Right back at it. Digs it out. Wynn pushes to the back
Sneaky.
line. Kept alive by Hudson. Sherling has to get it over, and there's a whistle. Point awarded to Leominster.
Legal touch there? I
Yeah, it
think?
looks like 2 hits.
Nice job by Nguyen there, though, to play with that back row.
Sees an open spot.
Hudson's strength is that front row play. So if you see that availability.
Back row comes with this one, long of the mark. That was Shaves trying to find the back line and missed. Broomfield back on serve. Broomfield wails away, wide of the back line. Point and the ball go back to Hudson. Kate, we've been watching an awful lot of Athletes Unlimited professional volleyball on TV.
Wait a second, let's be clear about that. Todd's been watching an
I've
awful
been
lot.
watching an awful
when
lot.
Todd turns it on, it's at a point where I'm out cold. I keep falling asleep.
And then if I'm not
but
watching
not
that,
for lack of interest.
correct.
It's for lack of, oh my goodness, it's the end of the night and Todd's still awake.
And then there's Big Ten volleyball we've been watching thanks
Yep.
to the our friends at the Big Ten Network.
Thank God we have extended cable.
Watching a lot of Nebraska and some of these other fantastic volleyball programs. And here's what I take away thus far from what I've seen. You noted the outside hitting play in the front row, particularly LaRue, Sherling, Johnson on this front row for Hudson. I mean, the sequence they had a couple of moments ago, just the set, then the bump, then the spike or the slam opportunity, just in repeated succession. That's the part that, to me, the rhythmic nature of it looks very clean for the high school level.
No, that's been incredibly impressive. And basically what you're seeing there is you're seeing, their defense able to get that ball to their setter, and then that setter has been almost perfection in being able to set up their outside hit in either direction. So you have to credit the setters for Hudson, the multiple setters for Hudson, being able to distribute that ball to the outside hitters, because it's such a moment of chemistry, being able to set that ball right where your outside hitter needs it.
Wood whacks to the back line. Shaves kept it alive. Played on, middle of the floor, Johnson, dug out by Broomfield, and the kill opportunity whacks the net by Sanchez. Tucker, the junior, on service on the back line. Arcs for the back row. Broomfield has it slip by her, and Kate, I'm learning something here. Got a square to the net.
Oh, yes. If Aunt Pat and Uncle Ken, if UK and Aunt Pat are watching, we know. The one thing I've taught Todd about volleyball is you need to be square to the net when you're sending that free ball over.
Timeout taken on the floor by Coach John Antonetti.
Todd, one other thing. Some of the starters for Hudson from game one have not even come in to this second game. Have not even entered the picture.
Control certainly is heading their way, although they are +3 right now. Second game of the best of...
That should tell you how deep their lineup is.
Oh, without a doubt. They're best of 5. Coach Bobby Joe Lewis has riches galore over there, able to pick and choose and modify and really work the strategy. You could see as certain servers have taken their turn, she has brought in a player, usually front left or maybe front right. She's timed where that substitution is going to come.
It's a puzzle.
Absolutely.
Yep. And the thing is that, and again, when you have that deep bench, you have that latitude, that ability to be able to bring in the puzzle pieces so that they can have their specialization and really be able to flesh out your lineup, because you have that ability to go in and out and make those multiple substitutions.
Wood kept it alive for win. Sanchez for the kill. Into the net once again. Kate, when you have multiple balls like that have happened on this rotation, is it just one of those cases you're letting it get a little too low, not getting it at its highest point when it comes in your direction?
It could be that. I mean, there might be some interesting movement. I mean, this ball is spinning coming off of the service, so she has essentially a curve ball. It looks like coming off of her serve, so it can be a little bit hard to judge. And if you misplay it as a back row hitter, then that fluidity, that poetry that you talked about, that bump, set, spike, if any of those pieces are off, it becomes very difficult to be able to have that nice fluidity.
Sanchez this time got it at the high point, missed the back left corner.
All the puzzle pieces need to be working in order for the bump, set, and spike to be able to work. And if something's off, it's, then the whole thing's off.
Tucker, middle of the floor. Broomfield tried to dig it out. It's yet another ace.
And if Broomfield is having that much difficulty, then there's something funky going on coming off, because Broomfield's an excellent defensive player, the libero for Leominster. So you got the float there. There was no spin on that one coming off of the server, but on some of them, there's been some epic spin.
Nice touch on by Sherling. Then the block. Amosa popped it up. Perez Soto played it over.
Oof.
Win for Broomfield. Gave up the body. Win gets it over. Johnson tried to touch on and the block. Amosa with the front row block.
Utilizing her height She timed that well. She'd been struggling in the first set with her timing, especially on her kills. Nice defense there by Amosa for Leominster.
Josette Sanchez
There's
goes to the back row. Yes.
Still, Hudson's back row.
And
we have a
they got a
rotation.
rotational issue.
Yeah. And the paperwork bites you again.
So,
Gets you every time.
was that the wrong server, Kate? I mean, when you talk about a rotation issue?
More than likely, yes.
And so now there's a conversation from the official scorer and the second official down at the table.
Two girls switch spots.
It's got to be all the way over.
Yeah, trying to place them in the right location, and now they have. So Wynn's going to be front left.
I'm even more confused.
And then Sanchez is going to be front right. Amosa is in the middle of the floor, front row. Well, let's put Sherling back on service for the Hawks. She had a long sustained serve in game number 1.
Yes, this is the one you need to take care of if you're Leominster's defense. Do not let her go on a run. She's dangerous.
A quick out here would be helpful for the Blue Devils.
That's not going to help.
That is going to be an ace to open that service.
I can't tell you how difficult. I've never been able to jump serve. I mean, please, let's not confuse.
No, now.
I was a winner of a coach's award, never the MVP. Let's just put it that way. May have been a 3-time captain, but I was a coach's award kind of an athlete. But the jump serve, I wouldn't have even been able to have nearly the coordination to do it.
Wynn tapped on, dug out. Now touched over into the floor. Nice timing. Kelsey Johnson, the senior, knew when to place the tap and got it in just in front of Felicia Meza.
You laughed pretty heartily a moment ago. Just because I can be candid about
Hey, I'm a varsity broadcaster.
You are.
I have been since 1999. Timeout on the floor. 15-6, the lead for Hudson right now, in full control already with one game in their back pocket. High school volleyball right here on Rivalry Family Media, and great to have you along with us. So many ways to watch if you're enjoying this one. Matches premiere live, facebook.com/media rivalry. Game available same day on demand on YouTube. That tinyurl.com/media rivalry will take you directly there, or youtube.com, search Rivalry Family Media. Like, follow, and subscribe today anytime a match goes live, and or anytime a on-demand piece of programming goes live. You'll get a prompt on your smartphone as well. And then for updates in the schedule, like say when the Leominster-Fitchburg football game inexplicably comes off the schedule like it did today.
Don't make
At Media Rivalry on Twitter. That's where you find out the latest information. If we don't have it, we know somebody who does. We'll find the way to point it in the right direction.
Just, twist the dagger.
It is what it is.
Pour some salt on the wound.
Sherling is back on serve at the back line, the freshman. Spin.
Oh, beautiful.
And another ace.
That was about as pretty as it gets right there. Interesting that she, in my estimation, why she wouldn't be up to serve. I mean, obviously they utilize her so much in the front row. You want her there as much as possible, but her serve has been phenomenal today.
She comes again, back row Wood. Set by Nguyen.
Oh.
And dig from the back row spot.
Beautiful.
From the server, Sherling. And then Wood gives up the body. Tapped on by Nguyen, and it will fall for a point. Great timing, found it right in between. That was Johnson in the front row and Cassidy. Their bodies were passing each other, and Nguyen read it and just tapped it between the two of them.
She's been magical with plays like that. Just, pulling a rabbit out of her hat and making things happen for her team.
Sanchez back on serve, wide of the antenna. And the ball will go back to Hudson along with the point. Hudson's lead is 10 here in the second game, already with one set in their back pocket. It's a race to 3, best 3 out of 5. McDonald, the sophomore, on serve now for Hudson. Wood swings it over. Is that Kuhn with the kill opportunity? Dug out there.
The
That was
ball.
Parmenter. Had another opportunity, couldn't clear the top of the net. You know, we're midway through this second game, and it's also worth noting one of the sophomore leaders here for Leominster, Isabella Nevard, is not here tonight, not playing in the game. So certainly takes out, you know, one of those key pieces. We saw her service was key, as was her defensive play.
Ooh, Leominster needed help there. That ball was going out.
(19-7), Hudson's lead. Wynn checks a shoe there on the front row. Now the signal to continue. Broomfield with the dig. Popped on there by Wynn. Kept alive. Kuhn tried to just tap it over. Wasn't able to successfully do it. Got a little help though from the back row. Ariana Smith had tapped it on toward the net. Libero out for Leominster. Samantha Brady will come in on service. Kate Leominster sorely needs a run here. Going down 2 games in the match. With the way that Hudson has been playing, would feel like a very tall mountain to climb.
It certainly would.
Brady pops it to the middle of the floor. Dug up there by Smith. Outside kill there for Cassidy, the freshman. If the skill, Kate, by the way, of Hudson isn't enough to point to, let's just talk about the ages. Key freshmen that I have seen, 1, 2, 3.
Sherling's a freshman?
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
I count 4 freshmen making key plays, likely to replace, by the way, the key seniors.
I'm wondering,
where you got 4 or 5.
I'm wondering if Sherling, because Hudson has their middle school on premises, if she's been a varsity athlete since she was a middle schooler.
She very well may have been.
Because she's been tremendous.
She certainly has the right build, the long levers, long and lean, to be able to get the right whip in that arm.
I have the exact opposite physical attributes.
As do I.
You were a defensive specialist.
I
right,
was.
Kate?
A defensive specialist. You
More
got that
paperwork.
right.
Guiding that back
Proceeds.
line.
It's my favorite part of the game.
There's
There's been a lot of
no
conversation
shortage
over
of it,
there.
I'll tell you
A lot
that.
of conversation over there today relative to the paperwork.
All right, let's see what they're talking about.
Next broadcast up here of volleyball comes your way next Wednesday night, March the 31st. Air Shirley here inside the gym at Leominster High School. Also a 5:30 start, and right here on Rivalry Family Media. And right away, there comes Scafidi with the ace. And brings Hudson within 4 of their second game in the match.
Do my eyes deceive me, or is the athletic director wearing shorts today?
Coach Palazzi is indeed wearing his Roger Mercier branded
I was
shorts.
gonna say.
And there is another ace for Scafidi.
That's what it looks like. It looks like he's channeling Coach Roger Mercier
Indeed.
today.
The back row split, by the way, on that one. Meza and Parmenter had a little miscommunication on the back row for Leominster, and Scafidi's got 2 aces in a row.
It's about as key an attribute to this game as any other, communication.
And that's all she wrote. That one clips the net. Pointing the ball back to Leominster. 22-9, Hudson's lead, and Leominster's top server, Shayla Wynn, no time like the present as she'll go back on serve. Perez Soto will check back into the game for Meza. And she'll take that front left spot, will Menashley Perez Soto. Wynn could use a long, sustained run here. Hammers to the back row, popped up by McDonald. Set into the net, and the ball will go back to Leominster. Nice job by DeZutter getting there, just not able to get the angle to pop it straight up.
If that were me, I'm bumping it over the net and living to fight another day.
Indeed. Here's Wynn.
Beautiful.
Goes back row again, popped up, kept alive. This one's got to go over, thwarted by the curtain, and the point back to Leominster. Leominster have the lead.
Halved. Okay. I like that.
Yeah, I
That
thought
took
you
me a
would.
moment.
Popped up by the back row. That was DeZutter. Kuhn over.
There's
Set
a
by
nice
Wynn.
set.
And
There's a
kill
nice
for
set.
Wood.
That's what they've been looking for. Leominster has not had that many opportunities with that nice bump set spike. That one came together very nicely, just far enough away from the net. The outside hitter is not bunched up there. That's what you like to see.
And again, hammered, dug out this time by Smith. Over it goes, off the hands of DeZutter. Win set up, Wood goes back row. That caught the line. And it is a Leominster points.
I had that. I want to see some more enthusiasm out of these officials. Show me some oomph. Come on now.
And Wynn's service continues.
Be excited to be here.
Wynn hammers it over, dug out by Smith. Kuhn looks for the kill, rips it to the back line. And it's called long.
Yep. That was quite the wind-up, though.
Indeed it was.
Holy moly.
Wynn's decided to change sides of the floor here.
It's a new spot.
Indeed. Goes for the middle, and she's got herself an ace. Great find. She certainly saw something on that back row in the sophomore McDonald and went right at her, the libero, in the middle of the back row.
Well, changing that angle from left to right rather than right to left definitely creates a different look.
That back row is going to have to beat her.
Popped up, long of the mark, over the head of Stanton. And the service point and the ball goes back to Hudson in a 23-15 game. A nice long service run for Shayla Wingate, but you know what? It's one of those cases where, you know, maybe the depth was just a little bit too much, and then for Stanton, looks at that one, almost seemed like she was caught flat-footed, right? Yeah. Ball popping back over her head, not able to settle up underneath.
And trying to make that determination of exactly how far back you need to backpedal, or when does that become a back row ball? That's where the confusion comes.
And that one is called in, a service ace for Shaves.
Game point again.
Indeed, Hudson, their second opportunity here to put a game away as they wing that one at the service, Shaves.
Things happen. Can't all be perfect, Todd Robbins.
I seem to remember you roll the ball in the
yes,
ball everywhere it goes. I paid attention in gym class. That one was inside the antenna. It's an ace on the line. It's a point and the game for Hudson.
Resounding fashion with that set.
Indeed. 25-15 in game number 2 for Hudson.
This guy might be my favorite. He is meticulous.
I haven't seen anybody check the net in the other game, but or in the two JVs, this is the second time he's done it.
I love it.
I appreciate an official who does their job as thoroughly, seeing that is the responsibility. While you're here,
I think he's worried the ball might slip through a little hole there that might have enlarged itself.
Well, interestingly, you know, as I looked at that last one, you know, he's fixing the antenna now on that outside line, but I have to say I got a little nervous that that last ace was actually wide of everything by the way it kind of came in on the line, but it's actually changing the location of the antenna. I think this one's 5G now as he starts to move that one in. Happy to have you along with us.
Well, you know, let's go back to that. You know what he did, Todd?
Yes.
The player, the side the ball's coming from, he moved the antenna to that side, so it's not being bent away from the net.
Interesting.
This one's on the Hudson side, and that one he moved to the Leominster side. I think it's so that leverage, so it doesn't get pulled off when the ball's coming at it.
And Bill Thomas.
He had a reason for that.
And there's Bill Thomas. That's spatial relations and scientific control.
He wasn't just
are
bored.
Bill Thomas's responsibility.
That is for his forte.
Todd Robbins, Kate Robbins, Bill Thomas.
I was astounded that the volleyball standard was up for the girls when they arrived, and they didn't have to take it down. I need to have a conversation with my aunt. We had to do a lot of moving furniture around when I was in my volleyball days.
Things have changed.
Less touch points.
This is true. Fewer touch points.
I guess so.
As the officials continue to meet as we get set for this third game in the match.
Leominster got to find a way to sustain some momentum. Both sets, they came out, you know, competitive, but after about 5-5, 6-6, single digits, Hudson found a way to string some points together. Before you know it, Leominster was down 10 and looking at the wrong side at the end of that game.
Hudson split their series with Monty Tech, so they're playing it on consecutive Fridays. So they played their first match last week on the road at Monty Tech. Now this Friday they will play at home against Monty Tech with a 6:30 first service in that one being played at Hudson. So that is certainly coming up. Yeah, 6:30.
It's bedtime.
No, that's a prime time
That's
for
a
broadcast.
that's a basketball stop.
I said that is
bedtime.
a prime time for a broadcast right here on Rivalry Family Media. Todd Robbins, Bill Thomas, Kate Robbins, happy to have you with us as we enter the third set. Hudson already with the 2-0 lead, and they will start on service in this third set. It is Scafidi to start on serve for the Hawks.
And please note, LaRue back in the game.
Yeah,
she did not play at all in the last match.
Yeah,
Is that
great
number
pickup.
3?
Yes.
Yes, yes. She spent that whole game on the sideline.
And she is starting outside right, Kate. Is that what it looks like here?
Sure. We'll see in a minute.
Scafidi
Nope.
goes middle of the
She's-
floor. No,
But
outside
she's
left.
well, she's the lefty, so they're going to put her over there. She can move over there.
Locked away. Broomfield dug it out. Win. Now Wood pops it over and barely responded to. Figueredo was able to get the touch and the spin on the tape for the point for the Hawks to open this third game.
Now, when you say, Kate, she could move over there, once the point starts, can the girls move into any spot on the floor they want?
Not necessarily any spot on the floor, but those front row players certainly can move anywhere in that front row.
They can
that
move
want.
laterally from
Yep.
side to side.
And you
I
can
got
have people come from the back row forward as well. There's going to be that 10-foot restraining line on the floor, which is going to be a determining factor on who can go where and who can set where. That libero is not going to be able to come beyond that line.
1-all. Scafidi's serve was wide. Win back on service for Leominster. Fires away right at that back row again. She found Shaves, who could not respond, and Leominster picks up the points.
Now, just to expand, Kate, those 2 white lines on either side of center court, that's a 10-foot restricted area, or on either 5 feet on either side of the net? Is that what we're looking at?
No, we're talking about the white line.
The white lines.
Yep. That's 10 feet. Ish, not really.
Nguyen pop and clear.
It's less than 10 feet.
Broomfield touched it over. LaRue with the kill attempt. Collier kept it alive. Perez Soto in. That point is still good. And no,
outside.
called outside of the antenna. Wow. It was a great sequence for Leominster to desperately keep the ball alive. LaRue on serve. Goes long for the back row, and right off serve. Not able to stay on service there was LaRue, who's, based on her statistics, Kate, she was the player we were most excited to see tonight, and having a little trouble getting going, at least on service.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see her masterful work as an outside hitter, I'm sure.
Indeed. Speaking of the outside hit, that was Figueredo. Tried the kill attempt. It was dug out by Wood. This is Murphy. Keeps it alive. Set by Scafidi. Touched over by O'Brien. Leominster will take their opportunity. Sanchez with a little pop.
Oof.
Kill attempt there. Kept alive. O'Brien got it over. Scafidi desperately keeps it over. This is Wynn. Now bumps it into that front row. Scafidi, outside swing, long of the line. That was Woodcook, the freshman. And Randy Wood, the senior, steps back on service. And out will catch the tape. It was O'Brien. Tried the kill, and Leominster another point.
Once again, Leominster starting this set off strong. Much like the first 2 sets, have to see if they can maintain this momentum.
Wood popped up this time by Smith. And the kill. What a finish by Figueredo. Kate, her momentum was taking her left, and somehow Figueredo was able to bend that thing back away from her to the right.
It's amazing what some of these athletes are able to do with the spin of the ball.
Much like using their fist like a tennis racket.
Yes. And Figueredo got herself on serve and immediately got herself an ace.
Her little leg kick in the air on her jump serve is about the most
flips
adorable thing I've ever seen in my whole life. I'm sorry. I know you probably shouldn't say that about an
let's see what
athlete.
you're talking about, Kate.
Watch
Here
her little feet. They kick.
Might miss a little action,
Mid-air.
but we're going to get this.
Watch her little feet kick. Oh, she didn't do it that time.
Only when she's got to get that little extra, as Wynn will touch it on, split the back row, and find it inside the line.
Never called a server adorable before, but I found one. I found one. Here's your defensive specialist, ready for service.
On service. Broomfield to the back row, popped up by Smith. And then Murphy, and over, and Broomfield with a diving play to get it over. Right back comes Johnson, and Amosa could not respond, but talk about giving up the body. Broomfield wanted that one bad.
She gets up rubbing her right knee, too. And
there's not an elbow or knee.
Pads,
built
not doing much good.
No, there's not an elbow or knee that you're going to
just
feel
the
good
sound that resonates every time a girl dives on the floor, you know the protection's not doing a lot of good.
I feel like the knee pads used to be a little thicker, too.
That seems like more like
do they look
wrestling,
a little thinner
like
these
wrestling
days?
knee pads, I'm thinking, yeah.
The answer to that is yes, Todd.
I was going to say, my knees hurt. Win, Amosa tapped on, and the kill.
Nice little sneaky set right there.
I can't imagine you giving up your body onto a gym floor for volleyball.
Are these Noxie approved?
Are
I
these
mean, really?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean,
Noxie approved.
Noxie's going to check just about everything. They don't check knee pads.
I can't even.
And this one popped up and will grab the floor.
That's good. That's good.
And a substitution for Leominster. Mez is going to check in for Perez Soto.
Oh, man. Noxie approved.
You liked that, didn't you?
I did.
Every now and again, I've been known to trip over one.
Yep. Well, I'm just so used to your glowing humor at home every day. Dad
How
jokes
could you ever
galore.
get used to that?
I was going to say, I'll tell you, I'll give Danny Tanner a
Yeah,
run for his money.
for
No
not
doubt
being a
about it.
dad. We got dad jokes.
Shaves pops that one up. Win.
Another free ball. Oh, no.
Wood with the kill attempt. LaRue double pumped that one and ends up whacking it into the net. Kate, she looked like she wanted to take it to the outside line, then saw the floor to her left was open on the inside.
Tried to
and ended
redirect.
up redirecting it right into the
The
net.
interesting thing is having her been out for the entire second set, the cool down factor, you know?
Yep.
She's got to get hot all over again.
Here's an outside opportunity,
Oh,
blocked
wow.
down by Wynn.
What a great matchup, those two right there, going one-on-one.
I love the celebration by Wynn. Yeah, she had the
Take
little,
that.
I'll take that. Yeah, put that one on the board.
Yeah.
It's a fun little something.
It's volleyball vibe.
You get that from the girls, though, in all sports.
Absolutely, and another block.
Same. That was an instant replay all previous play. Different girl, but same set.
Might be Leominster's largest lead in any game thus far. Sanchez, front row, drops it in front. Kept alive. Broomfield now Win. Wood, outside hit. Kept up by the back row, Murphy. Played on by DeZutter. Wood will swing it over. Touched wide of the line. Leominster picks up yet another point and expands their lead to 5.
Leominster feeling the groove right now. Yep, and here is a very much needed timeout by Coach Lewis.
Chiller is in effect. Timeout on the floor taken by Coach Bobby Joe Lewis.
Time to ice the server.
Leominster +5, trailing by 2 games in this match, looking to keep this one going.
Somehow Leominster able to maintain the momentum. And Kate, you brought up a good point. Those starters that sat out that second set could be a little cold, a little rusty, a little stiff, and we'll have to see if you know, they're basically giving this set up just to kind of get back in game condition. You know, it's like coming out of halftime sometimes. You sit around.
Yeah, and I understand the premise. You win in fairly resounding fashion in the first set. You put in another set of girls. You're trying to get as much playing time. But then you go into this next set and you have a situation where you have those starters from the first set coming back now. Now they're cold. And so if they're cold, like right now LaRue is feeling the chill a little bit. to get right back in this game. They got to warm back up.
LaRue tapped on. She finds the floor. And the timeout successful once again.
And when in doubt, if you're struggling with the outside kill, then you just dump it over, find the area, get the point. There's going to be a space on the floor that you can take advantage of.
Leominster has built a 4-point lead as they turn it over. Addison Murphy, the freshman libero, on serve. Finds the back row Meza. Win. Wood swings it over. LaRue with the hammer, but wide of the back line. Back to Leominster.
That is a beautiful outside. I know that it's long, but man, that looks pretty.
The speed alone, Kate. The speed alone and the force put on.
Well, number one, finding a human that can jump. I mean, I'm the Phil Mickelson like piece of paper underneath my feet going up for the jump. So anybody that has any type of vertical attitude impresses me.
And there's an ace for Brady back in the game, and she's fired up. Leominster's lead is 6. Game number 3. Touched on through the block of Stanton, but Wood pushed it over. And the opportunity, this one Figueredo. It got deflected on the kill attempt, but it found its way to the floor. And you can hear the Hawks.
They're fired up.
Yes, indeed. Leominster as well, though. I heard Menashley Perez Soto from the bench saying they've got this. They can do this. That kind of positivity, Kate, when you're down 2 games in the overall match and you're up here in the third trying to build your way to keep the match going, all that much more important. Win for Wood. Murphy with the dig. Scafidi looking for LaRue. Not able to convert.
We had a traffic jam going from the front row to the back row there on Hudson. So 2 players running into each other, not able to get that set in the proper position. And when that happens, things roll off the tracks.
Leominster back to their top server. This is Nguyen. And that means Perez Soto back in front left, and Nguyen rips it to the back line. Popped over by Figueredo. Now Nguyen for Collier. Swung over by Stanton. Dug out that time by Shaves. Kill opportunity from the outside didn't go, but Leominster could not set up that whole bump set spike sequence they were talking about. They got the bump, but the angle not going to allow any kind of a set.
We have a situation there where Nguyen kind of got locked up. She had to take the first hit on her side, so she was not able to set.
LaRue to the back row, right back over. Collier for Nguyen, punches it on.
We're wailing and flailing now.
Scafidi popped it up, and Murphy tried to dive the angle to keep it alive for the last hit. It found the floor.
That has been Hudson's really only Achilles heel, is that communication on those first hits. People not necessarily really attacking that first hit, kind of waiting for somebody else to take it.
Randy Wood on serve again for Leominster. Now an opportunity to dig it out for Nguyen. Sanchez with a tap to the middle of the floor for the kill. And Leominster has built a 7-point advantage at 16-9.
I think you'll see Hudson take another timeout here shortly if this trend continues. I think if Leominster gets around 20, Hudson's going to be forced to take a timeout.
Wood for Murphy. Scafidi with the bump. Now the swing over from Figueredo. Pushed on. Outside, the kill attempt. Dug out there by Broomfield. Sanchez, yeah, it's going to be 4 hits. And to double digits comes Hudson here. Figueredo goes back on service. Middle of the floor, Broomfield with a nice bump.
Is she the one
Too
with the
close
little
to the
kick?
net.
I think she's back.
I think you're right,
I
Kate.
think she's back.
It is Figueredo, the freshman.
You tell me if I'm seeing things.
I think it's only when she's got to rear up for that little extra. Swung over there by Wood from the back row.
Free ball.
And over the back and in for the kill. What a find by Scafidi.
That was a laser of a bump over the net.
Not the way it was designed, but it worked all the same.
Had her back to the net on top of it.
Indeed. And that one too low of the mark for Figueredo. So Figueredo right back out. In comes the libero, Addison Murphy. Speaking of the libero,
Has Sherling
Broomfield's.
played in this set?
Sherling has not played in this set.
Interesting. Interesting.
Broomfield service responded to by O'Brien. Over off of Kuhn. Wood tried the jump kill, not able to do it. Into the net. The lead cut to 4. Leominster at 17-13, and Hudson with the ball in service.
More conversation.
Yeah, the second official now speaking to Coach John Antonetti about the rotation.
In every single case, 15 for Leominster.
Sanchez.
Josette Sanchez has been part of the conversation piece by this official in every single instance where there's been a conversation. He is pointing at her yet again.
Now, she was the one that got caught in that whole service, inappropriate rotation scenario in
She
game
does not
number
look
2.
impressed at all. She is not impressed by whatever's happening right now. Amos is coming back. The libero's coming back. So basically what ends up happening is that you have to do the reset. So like I said, the paperwork becomes paramount.
I saw an illegal procedure signal there from the
well,
official.
that's the substitution signal in volleyball, but otherwise it's a false start everywhere else.
As long as you got 6 girls on the court.
I think we need a horn in this sport. I've decided what we need is more horn. That is what I've decided this sport
Mike
needs.
would love it.
Mike
Needs a
would
little
have-
air
exactly.
horn
He's
action. Let them know subs coming in. Make the life easier on the official working the rotations. It now makes logical sense, though, why you have 2 officials in this game across the net.
The paperwork alone, Todd Robbins.
Indeed.
The paperwork alone. Need a notary public just to make a substitution.
Kept alive by the back line,
It made
and the
you
kill
chuckle.
opportunity for Kuhn.
I made you chuckle.
Indeed, that's well done. And the lead is 5.
I feel like getting a marriage license is easier than substituting in volleyball.
Excuse me, the lead is 3. Looking
Yes.
right at it.
Nah.
Broomfield popped it up. Wood hammers it on. Murphy. Looks the back line. Broomfield responded to it, Kate, but you know what? Might have been better off letting it go.
See, I had that initial thought, but I think that she was right. I think that would have been in. Just the geometry of that. It was far too close just to let that go. Thank you to the
Athletic Director Dave Palazzi saving the broadcast
Yeah.
as we've got flying wires. Yep.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it. As this one gets knocked short, Leominster will get the ball back, +3. I'll tell you, this sport, unlike any other, there are balls flying everywhere. During warm-ups tonight, I almost lost my head. Ball
Yeah,
came
we
from
all
the
have to
front.
broadcast
I was going to say,
table, too.
and the table, it's
And you're
unbelievable.
8 rows back.
I was going to say, I'm in the top row. I'm in Johnny Moe's seat. This one's long of the mark.
The cheap seats up
Or
here.
I was going to say, that's the euchre seats, all the way
Must
at the
be in
top
the
of the gym.
front
Must be in the front
row.
row.
But for those that don't know, we have, 150 or 200 feet of Ethernet cable that we have
runs
to
from
run
our location, which is opposite
through the port.
where the location for the port is here inside the gym at Leominster High School.
So Coach Palazzi, in earnest, saving the broadcast.
Yeah, literally.
Because if that wire goes, where we go. With that wire goes us.
I was going to say.
I'm a little bit nervous. The locker room door, it's hanging.
Looking a little
I
droopy.
noticed that when
Yeah.
he was over there
It's
looking
like, oh
at it.
boy. Nobody go to the locker room.
Broomfield keeps it alive.
Oh, nice.
Popped up by Sanchez with the back set, and then the kill.
Out, I think would have been out.
Kept alive. Touched on.
I love
tries
that.
the dump and succeeds.
That was my specialty in volleyball because as a front row player, clearly I had no vertical ability, and I used to do that. That's my favorite play in volleyball. That one right there.
It just seems like the kind of one like you just see it coming. The players start to gravitate to the middle, and you're like, "Yep, it's not going there.
Yep.
It's going over here to the outside."
Find an open spot.
LaRue,
Just like that.
Instead of bringing the hammer, goes with the finesse.
And interestingly, how old is LaRue? What grade is she?
LaRue, I believe, is a senior. Yes.
This is one of those things where as you mature, her outside hitting right now in this set has been a struggle for her. So she has transitioned into those little dump passes, and they become incredibly effective. Just get it over the net and find the space. You don't have to always wind up every single time.
And there's Kuhn with an ace.
Well, I think the fact that she has that hammer makes the opponent respect that too. So then that actually opens up your game probably, Kate. I'm sure you've seen that on the court.
Yes,
you expect one thing, the number one, and you get the number two.
Yes, and Billy, but I don't think that if we see her as a freshman, she's able to make that in-game adjustment without being overly frustrated.
In-game, in-point.
In-game, in-point on her own to be able to make that type of an adjustment to know, you know what, my outside hitting right now has not been as consistent as it was in the first set, but there is something that I can do in order to maintain my consistency and be just as effective. And as you said, Leominster having to stay honest on defense because she's such a threat deep. So they're having to make sure that they stay back, because if she winds up, they're going to take that ball right in the face. And she's able to take advantage of that little dump shot in between the first and the back row.
Back in the relative safety of the Euchre
guys.
seats here, high above courtside. Todd Robbins, Bill Thomas, Kate Robinson, happy to have you along with us. We know how difficult it is, of course, for you folks who are not able to be here, who would love to be here inside of the gym at Leominster High School. And we're glad to have you cheering along your favorite player and your favorite team, be able to bring this one into your living room as well.
Down the street in Leominster, across the country in Arizona.
Indeed, and then some. All around the world, Facebook.com/Media Rivalry.
Oh, there's that outside.
LaRue, tried the kill. It was blocked down by Nguyen. And now finds the back row. And coming all the way back are the Hawks. They've knotted it at 19.
Leominster's going to need some big effort from their defense to be able to get the ball back. They are going to need to get this ball back. They do not want to let Hudson get the lead.
And Kuhn is looking to finish the match on serve. Broomfield keeps it alive. Win. Now Wood. For Kuhn. Outside LaRue with the dump. First to the 20 mark is the Hawks. They were behind by as much as 7, Kate, excuse me.
An impressive effort, that's all.
Kuhn 5 points from putting away the game and the match. Finds Collier. Then Amosa. And Collier kept it alive. Then Wynn lifts to the back line. It's long on the mark.
Roaring back are the Hawks.
21-19. And Coach John Antonetti's going to spend another timeout. And this one is to preserve the match. 21-19. Hudson has not only gone into the lead, but has opened up a couple of extra points as well.
Well, and this becomes a situation. I found myself on teams where we're in this type of a spot where Hudson right now has a commanding 2-set lead. And Leominster came out, guns a-blazing in this third set, and they did a nice job getting a fairly sizable lead going out in the early going. And then as you're you're feeling that lead dissipate and disappear, it feels like quicksand. It's like you're just holding on white-knuckled with everything that you have, trying to make sure that lead doesn't slip away. And then when it continues to get smaller, it gets tough.
But the one thing Kate had said to me, Bill Thomas, about this sport is the volleyball vibe. Yep. Somehow, in the waning moments where this match could be decided, Leominster still has that positivity, still has that positive energy going over on the bench.
I hear the talking going on, and you just got to take one set at a time. You're never out of it.
It's a very different
You're out
vibe.
of it in all three.
Here's Kuhn. Dug by Collier.
Nothing but fun to be had.
Swung over by Wood. Kept alive by Shaves. And the kill. That's Figueredo with the tap. 22-19, Hudson can feel it. They see the finish line in front of them. 3 points to the end. This is Meza. Now Wynn. Wood swings it over. Kept alive by LaRue. LaRue has to tap it on for Meza, and Leominster not able to respond with that one. 23-19, 2 points to the finish line. Kuhn for Meza. Then Broomfield. Now Wynn. Kuhn had to go through her set. She had to try to push it over as LaRue saved it. And it looked like Kuhn was going to finish the game on serve and will not.
Why you would, if you have that misstep with the overhand pass on the first touch and you get it back for the third, why would you go back to that again? That's where you bump the ball. You just bump it back over.
Great point. Leominster needs to recover 3, then 2 more from the finish line for them. This is LaRue.
Oh my God.
Rings the swing and count that point within 1.
Wow.
24-20. Hudson in game number 3. Up 2 games to none already, looking to conclude the match.
If you're Leominster, all you can do in that type of a situation is tip your cap. That's all you can do. If you're able to bump it, play defense and bump it back, then that's fantastic, but my goodness, what an outside hit.
Scafidi on serve to finish this one. Scafidi for Collier. It's an ace.
Played it off the backboard.
I was going to say, indeed, that's a jump ball where I'm from.
Did they not see it hit the backboard?
They did, and I don't believe they're awarding the point. Yeah, it is not. They're going to kill it off that backboard. So 24-20. The captains are getting a clarification from the officials. They wanted to make sure Kate's going to reset the score here. So Scafidi will try service again. Scafidi wide of the mark, and the ball back to Leominster. Hold the phone. Leominster still has a pulse.
And look who's up to serve.
And no time like the present to have your top server take the back line, as Manashli Perez Soto will take the front left spot for Meza.
If I'm Hudson, if she gets 1 point, I'm taking a timeout.
Might want to just spend it right now.
Make her think about it.
Indeed.
Leominster needs this leadership
Because
right now.
if the ball grabs the floor, it's a Hudson win. And there it is. Win into the net. Hudson's a winner by a 25-21 mark in game number 3. And a 3-0 win in this match.
This is my other favorite for the COVID.
The new COVID farewell.
So that people know what we're talking about.
As the coaches and the
Girls
players
lined up.
take the back
And the
lines.
officials.
And the officials, they all
too.
wave
Give
to
them
each
a
other.
wave.
I love it.
Good job.
What
Absolutely
a
love
match here today. Hudson a winner by a 3-0 score.
The officials already packed up, ready to go. Look at that.
What did he have to unpack?
The whistle.
The whistle.
The whistle.
I didn't
whistle
even
had
see
to go
him
back
take a
in.
drink of water. I want that job.
Hudson a winner, 25-13.
Todd, when are they having a class?
I was going to say, we'll take it together, Bill Thomas. 25-13, 25-15, 25-21 in the third game for Hudson
The
to
cooler,
sweep
the cooler
this
with
one.
water's coming out right now. There was some exertion there. The water's coming out of the cooler
All right,
now,
so Kate,
everybody.
the most exertion I saw was climbing up those 4 stairs and climbing down
Back
the
down
4
those 4 stairs.
You
The only
know?
thing I need is a safety
I love it.
tie-off. I'm a little concerned about being that loose on that ladder. But other than that, Hudson
We'll get you a carabiner.
I was going to say, yeah, I need a carabiner. Something. I need
Clip.
a tether.
Clip.
I want to be able to lock in. But other than that, hey, it's great to have had you along with us here on this one on Rivalry Family Media. Great match back and forth here. Leominster loses in straight sets by a 3-0 score. But Kate, within those individual games,
Yes.
there were runs, particularly obviously for Leominster in that last game. But there were points throughout this match where they had that chance to throw it over the top, to get what they needed, and then they never were quite able to gain on advantage other than that third game.
And one of the things that you could see, if you take what we saw out of Leominster and juxtapose with what we saw out of Hudson, as you said, there was some poetry, there was some fluidity that we saw, and right now Leominster tends to kind of be on their heels quite a bit, and they had one or two phenomenal volleys that we saw, but that fluidity, that chemistry that we're seeing out of the opposition, not always on display for Leominster. I'm not saying that it's not there, but it's not always on display. Very rarely do you have a bump set spike in rapid succession going exactly as planned. And so, Leominster has the puzzle pieces. They have the individual talent. Now it's about putting it together. It's amazing in this sport, and I will continue to harp on it. The aspects of communication and chemistry that are necessary in order to make this whole thing work. It's a very interesting sport in that sense. You can very much have a specialty. You can very much have individuals that have specialties, but if not all the puzzle pieces are working, if you're not firing on all cylinders, it doesn't matter. You can have the best outside hitter in the world. If you can't get the ball to her, then they're not going to be able to be effective. Same thing. You can have the best server in the world, but if you can't get a volley going, then it's all for naught. So with this item, it's so indicative of having all of those pieces firing and having all the communication and that chemistry working together in a cohesive unit, that if it's not all firing at the same time, it can be a little bit disjointed, and that's what we see at times right now from Leominster. Hudson had it as well. As I said, I thought that the weakest aspect of their game was their back row communication, especially. Their front row was really impressive tonight. But we'll see. It's just been fun, and you're kind of getting the volleyball vibe. It's different.
That's the
different.
good housekeeping seal of approval from you. I will say that. And Bill Thomas, of course, you're now through your second overall volleyball match. What's your takeaway?
I'm very impressed with the competition overall, but on the Hudson side, you could definitely see a little more level at the skill positions. I think the dig set spike, especially working this near side or where we are here, whoever was playing this near side, then setting to LaRue on the left side, repeatedly, the dig would get to the front row, the set would cross the net, they'd have a girl jumping for distraction, but it always found LaRue where it needed to be. That, like you say, dig set spike, but you're not just digging it and setting it randomly. They actually had a plan, and I'd say about 3/4 of the time that plan worked out, and it went dig back row, set near side, spiked by LaRue, and I think that's Hudson's key to success, and they use it well.
And they're able to use that front row left spot as kind of that key point, because even when LaRue left the lineup, you had either Johnson or Serling in that spot where they were able to make use of that position. Strong day today for Hudson. Very impressive volleyball display that we saw here inside the gym at Leominster High School. Hudson is a winner, 3 straight sets, 25-13, 25-15, 25-21. In game number 3. As we start to wind down our coverage here of volleyball on this Wednesday evening, we will end where we began in an update elsewhere around the world of high school sports. If those of you are just getting home from work and aren't able to spend the day on Twitter or getting your latest updates, the latest information here and across the Twin Cities looks like this. The Leominster-Fitchburg football game that was scheduled for Friday night, March the 26th, has at this time been canceled. COVID protocols will prevent Leominster from being able to take the field on Friday. That game has been canceled. Leominster and Fitchburg will not play each other in week 2. Both athletic directors, certainly once it is safe, certainly do hope to find a creative way to get that game back on the schedule, but all of that is to be determined at this time. It is listed as cancel. So Leominster will not play. They will immediately enter the quarantine period and COVID protocols. In the meantime, once they are clear, they do hope to be able to get clear tests throughout the weekend and be available to play again next week. Although the possibility does exist, we have to open up. That possibility does exist. That could also jeopardize their week 3 matchup with Shrewsbury as well. So all of that is to be determined. On the Fitchburg side of the slate, the Red Raiders have tested clean. They do not have any COVID cases to concern themselves with. They went out shopping. They found themselves an opponent for Friday night. They were able to find Hingham, who is available not only to play, but to host that matchup on Friday night, as the Red Raiders cannot play any games during the spring season at Crocker Field. So Hingham will host Fitchburg as a stand-in for Leominster. That game 6 o'clock on Friday in Hingham. Hingham, of course, it's important to note, and Kate mentioned this off the top of the broadcast, Hingham was originally slated to play Duxbury in an Eastern Mass matchup. And of course, the news all week long out of high school football up until this point here in Central Mass has focused on the East and this Duxbury team, who, of course, due to a combination of anti-Semitic language and loss of control within the program, not only has led to Duxbury not playing this week, it has also led to their head football coach today being let go from his responsibilities as head football coach and placed on paid administrative leave from his teaching position in Duxbury as well.
Wow.
That freed up Hingham. Hingham will now play Fitchburg on Friday night. The pieces continue to move. In a situation that Bill Thomas, we were told prior to the season that
no, please don't.
If you lost
Todd,
the
don't
game,
do it.
no, hang in
Todd,
there.
don't do
if
it.
you lost a game,
Here we go.
for any reason,
Bill Thomas.
you could not reschedule the game. It didn't matter if it was COVID, if it was rain, if it was sunshine. If the game got canceled, there was not supposed to be a game. And now under these circumstances, last week we saw it. Clinton couldn't play West Boylston because of a COVID situation.
Well,
West Boylston was allowed to
once
reschedule
once
and
they
play
let
Plymouth.
that happen, how could they step up and stop any of the school from doing it?
Correct.
So,
Pandora's
you know,
box.
one mistake leads to advantages for other teams, I guess. But whether it was a mistake or not, you know, I'm sure the MIAA had good intentions, much like their intentions were. We don't want to play if we can avoid it on natural turf.
Yes.
Because we're worried about field conditions. But we see in week 2 that's kind of being pushed aside too. So, you know, it's a moving goalpost, as I like to say. And we're just going to follow the ball wherever it leads.
And that's where we're
It's
going.
not leading to a Leominster-Fitchburg matchup on Friday
At least not on Friday night here in week 2. Our partners here at the K-Zone and this broadcast team will be moving to the Clinton at St. Bernard's
I did find out
football
Bill
game.
Thomas is available for that game.
Well,
I did check.
I had no doubt
Play
about
my
it.
schedule.
I had no doubt about it. Bill Thomas would be joining us on Saturday evening. That's a 6 o'clock kickoff at the Bernardian Bowl as St. Bernard's will play host to Clinton, who themselves are coming off of COVID protocols from last week. So certainly something to keep an eye on. Clinton and St. Bernard's will play on Saturday. That's March the 27th at 6 o'clock. K-Zone coverage for Billy, Kate, and I. AM 1280, 105.3 FM, WPKZstream.com for that coverage of that game as well. So that's coming up later on in the week as well. To Bill Thomas's point, by the way, I will only say this. I don't mind the idea within a pod or within a geographic region if 2 teams tested positive and the 2 teams that were supposed to play played each other. That seems logical to me. My biggest concern over what I'm seeing thus far in how this is all playing out is that when teams lose games, they're not going or able to stay within their geographic region. West Boylston went and found a playing partner in Plymouth South. Fitchburg is playing Hingham. Those are geographically significantly different, although somebody could make the argument Fitchburg was supposed to play Leominster and they touched each other and they almost ran into an opponent with a COVID problem. So I suppose, does geography really matter in the grand scheme of things will be the question that people will be left asking.
And not only that, in my estimation, I'm just happy that there aren't other teams here that are running into COVID problems, and that you're not seeing an outbreak amongst an entire geographic region.
Right,
So
or
the
a
fact
whole
that
pod having to cancel out.
the fact
that
that
would be-
Fitchburg is
that would be
having to
hard.
go and look for an opponent elsewhere, that they're not readily available, in my estimation, is a good thing relative to COVID transmission with regard to athletics.
Indeed it is. We will, as Bill Thomas said, we'll follow the bouncing ball here on Rivalry Family Media, Leominster TV, as well as right here on Rivalry Family Media. So much more to come throughout the next so many weeks. Volleyball was on tap today. Hudson was a winner, and we've got more volleyball for you here on Rivalry Family Media next Wednesday, March the 31st, a 5:30 first serve right here inside the gym at Leominster High School. That means a stream starting at about 5:15, 5:20 right here on Rivalry Family Media. Air Shirley travels here to the gym at Leominster High School for a battle between the Panthers and the Blue Devils right here on RFM. Meanwhile, as we mentioned, no Leominster-Fitchburg football on Friday due to COVID protocols.
JV game is still on.
The
though.
JV game is still on, Kate Robbins.
I'm not Bill Thomas.
You're not Bill Thomas. That's
I
correct.
married you.
Kate Robbins, thank you very much. Billy was crossing in front of me. What can I say? That is scheduled for 7 o'clock. That JV matchup, that proverbial chicken bowl between Leominster and Fitchburg, scheduled for Thursday. Doyle Field, 7 o'clock matchup on that one. And that is what we will be seeing as well, as Leominster and Fitchburg will match up in that JV battle on Thursday. Friday, Fitchburg plays Hingham, and Saturday, our coverage continues as St. Bernard's plays host to Clinton, 6 o'clock for the kickoff, 5:30 the countdown to kickoff on the K-Zone, AM 1280, 105.3 FM, and WPKZstream.com. That covers all the angles on broadcasts coming up here around the region. For this matchup, available on demand, almost immediately available on YouTube later on this evening. You can check out tinyurl.com/media rivalry, or it's youtube.com, search Rivalry Family Media. Like, follow, and subscribe today right here on Facebook, out there on YouTube, or on Twitter as well, at Media Rivalry. You'll get prompted anytime there is a Rivalry Family Media broadcast as to how you can participate and be a part of that action. Once again, the final score here from the gym at Leominster High School. The Hudson Hawks a winner in straight sets, 3-0 by a 25-13, 25-15, 25-21 margin in this afternoon battle of Leominster and Hudson volleyball. Hudson improves their overall record to 4-1 on this Fall 2 season. Leominster falls to 1-3. For Bill Thomas and Kate Robbins, I am Todd Robbins saying thank you so very much for joining us. And until next Wednesday here on Rivalry Family Media or the Coach's Corner on Monday night, Leominster head coach Devin Gates and I right here on Rivalry Family Media, as we'll preview next week's action and get an update on the Leominster football program. All that coming up next Monday here on Rivalry Family Media. Until then, for Billy and Kate, I am Todd Robbins saying thank you so very much for joining us here on RFM. And until next week, so long, everybody.